The state medical examiner has ruled Cassidy Baracka died of complications from COVID-19. It's what her family listed in her obituary. As we reported, someone from the Greater Lowell DCF office should have checked on Cassidy before her death, but never did. We sat down with a former DCF staffer from that same office. She describes crushing caseloads and high turnover. What was your job title?
I was a caseworker.
Chelsea Berland says she was a DCF social worker in the Greater Lowell office from 2014 to 2017. We confirmed her employment through state payroll records. She says she left because the stress was affecting her mental health.
It's near impossible to keep up by just working your normal hours. And just that guilt that, there was a kid I didn't get to see that month, and are they okay?
Chelsea says she became aware of the Cassidy Baracka case after our reporting last month. DCF received a report about a 7-year-old girl from Groton. 25 Investigates told you an EMT filed a report with DCF alleging hoarding conditions in the Groton home Cassidy lived in with her mother. That was on January 11th. A visit was not made until a week later, right after Cassidy's death. There wasn't a DCF response to the home for a week. Is that normal?
I wasn't surprised at all.
Why?
Because that's the norm. That happens all the time. When someone calls in because maybe they saw hoarding, there's usually about 10 other issues behind that hoarding piece that DCF needs to look into.
According to DCF protocol, a social worker was supposed to visit the home within at least 3 days.
And if the deadline was that day and that worker was out, the supervisor should have, assigned that to the on-call worker.
We've repeatedly asked DCF about why their own protocol wasn't followed, but they won't tell us or sit down for an interview. The medical examiner has ruled Cassidy Baracka's death was the result of complications from COVID. That still doesn't answer why the DCF visit didn't happen. According to DCF, 8 new social worker positions have been added to the Greater Lowell office since 2015, but there are currently 9 job openings. That office received the most abuse and neglect reports in the state during 2021, according to the union that represents social workers, an average of 381 per month, followed by the 2 Springfield offices. In January, the union called on the Baker administration to provide more resources and reduce caseloads across the state. Former DCF staffer Chelsea Berland says she worries about the kids and her fellow social workers.
It's just a thankless, I feel like, job for most of us, and you only can do so much. But the reality is they're burning out. There's just no catching up.
We alerted DCF to our interview with Chelsea Berland. She left in 2017. An agency spokesperson pointed to changes the Baker administration began a full 7 years ago, including a 42% increase in funding and a 21% increase in social workers. The spokesperson also says DCF put in new procedures in place to guide the review and investigation of reports of abuse or neglect. That still doesn't explain what happened in this case. We told you when we first reported this, we would try to get answers. We will continue to do that.